Hey there, chatters. I'm Nat.
And I'm Kat, and welcome to the Crime Chat. I am your forensic femme fatale. Natalie is your true crime addict connoisseur.
We're just two girls who leave a dash of body glitter and blood spatter wherever we go.
I love it.
While we obsess about dark crimes, evil minds, and occasionally the unknown.
Here is your disclaimer, chatters. The following Crime Chat contains adult content and descriptions of potentially violent scenarios. Your listener discretion is advised, and there will be an additional disclaimer coming up before we start into our story.
Ooh, you have been warned. So before we get into today's Crime Chat, Kat, what have you done?
So much. I think the last time we recorded, I was still like kind of on the mend from COVID. I'm still working on this voice. May sound sultry, may sound a little raspy. So it is a combination between the coughing with COVID, and then last weekend went to go see my favorite band of all time, and all I did was scream and yell and sing. I should say I sang very loud, but it probably sounded like screaming and yelling.
So you saw like a collaborative concert, and one of the bands was Breaking Benjamin, right?
Well, Breaking Benjamin was the headline, and that was who I wanted to see. But Seether Starset and Lacey Strum, she was the lead singer of Flyleaf. Yeah, Flyleaf from like early 2000s, like right around that same time frame. So amazing concert. It was Chris's first concert too. So he was like, it was a heck of a one to have his first concert at. So it was amazing. So between the coughing and the attempted singing and screaming all night long, we were able to, well, I should cut that up. I've basically kind of lost my voice. It's starting to come back. We were supposed to record earlier, right? And I said, let's give it a couple more days in case my voice is able to come back. So yeah. And then, so this morning this week is also Law Enforcement Week. Shout out to our police and law enforcement out there.
Yes, we love you.
We love you. And we did a ruck march this morning around the entire base. It was almost 9 miles. It was about 8.5 miles. And I am beat. I'm beat down. Like I can't do that anymore.
Girl,
I'm not young and spunky.
No, you showed me your Fitbit and how many steps you took.
Yeah.
You went from like 800 to 19,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a very short period of time.
Yeah. Well, it's about, I think it was 2 hours and 27 minutes. So we had about, what was our average? Maybe like 3.5 miles an hour, something like that. Yeah.
A lot.
It was crazy, but for a good cause. It is to honor fallen law enforcement as well, just to kind of memorialize and recognize the sacrifice of those that were killed in the line of duty. So shout out to our law enforcement chatters out there, and thank you for what you do.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Keeping us safe. Thank you.
And so I've got so much going on. Have you seen Our Father on Netflix?
No.
Wow. So it's this guy. It was from like the 80s and 90s, pretty much. Well, no, I take that back. It's like 60s, 70s, 80s. It was like infertility was getting really big, and they started doing insemination, right? For couples that just wanted to have babies and they couldn't for whatever reason, whether it was him, or whatever reason, right? So they would go to this doctor. It was highly recommended. And I think it was in the, I want to say, in the Indianapolis area. And there was this doctor, he's an older guy, and this is a true story, it's a documentary. He used his own semen to inseminate these women. Now the worst part about it is, let's say the woman had a hard time with fertilization, right? He would use the parents or the patients thought that it was her sperm, and then was the father's sperm with her egg, but the doctor used his own sperm. The worst part about it is, like, he would let the patients in and be like, okay, get dressed, from the waist down, and we'll do a couple inseminations. He went to his office, he jacked off, put it in a cup so it was fresh, used that, either saying it was a donor or saying it was the husband's or the father's, but he used his own sperm. A 25-mile radius is where all of his offspring are living. They don't know if they've dated each other and they've been related. How sick. Because they didn't know this.
Do we know how many?
I think it's over 95 right now.
Oh my, what a sick, perverted thing to do.
And he says, and there's a whole story behind it. He was not cooperative very much with law enforcement. We really don't know his side. He declined the interview with Netflix and everything like that. So you don't see his side story. He got a suspended sentence, which means he served no time, and $500 fine. And he's got 90 something kids out there, technically his children, that are in their 30s and 40s. And I think they used 23andMe, and they started popping up because,
wow,
and it's funny, not really funny. It's ironic, I should say, because a lot of the siblings look so much alike, and for good reason, right? Some of them knew each other, and there was one of the daughters that was saying that every time they get a notification that there's a new sibling or a close relative, they feared it was somebody that they knew because they lived in such a close proximity of each other.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Siblings. No, I can't.
You date, oh my God, I dated that person, or I went to high school with that person, right, and that was my half brother. Yeah. And can you think of then that's why so what happens is he told all of his patients that one donor never donated more than 3 times in that area. They would 3 times max. Mm-hmm. So then there was 6 siblings, and then there was 12 siblings. And then he said, okay, I never did it more than 15 times. He would admit to it. They have confirmed through DNA 95, 95. It's over 90. I know that. And the courts are just it's not. Well, and the other part about it too is the parents who thought that it was the father's sperm have taken that away, because now they've they thought their whole life that was their child.
Right.
And it's not. Isn't that horrible?
Yeah, he is a egomaniac.
It's horrible.
That is just, but honestly, legally, we don't have laws in place,
right,
to handle a man the way we have for women. It's there's no law that will tell a man what to do with his body. Period. Yep. There's nothing. There literally. So if you wanted to take this a little further, can they sue for sexual assault? Can they sue?
And that's what they were trying to do, because some of the mothers were also interviewed on there. Mm-hmm. And basically how they felt is they felt raped, because that wasn't their husband's sperm.
Absolutely.
To inseminate them.
Absolutely.
That was against my will. That was non-consensual.
Absolutely. But the Indiana, court will say, well, you got a healthy kid on. Well, that's not the point.
It's not the point. And so he was caught on some phone recordings and stuff, and in the ego that came out in his voice, and he's like, well, you're all fine. And when he actually did meet some of his offspring, he interviewed them. What's your medical history? What do you do for work? He wanted to spawn successful white, blonde hair and blue eyes.
Oh my God.
Because he was also part of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Oh my God. All right. I don't know if I can handle watching this, because I may throw something at the TV. Okay.
My jaw, I'm just
the audacity, the arrogance, the ego.
Off. And you know what though? He was a deacon in the church. People looked up to him. He was a leader in the community by being a doctor and helping women who couldn't have children.
You know what? If you told me he didn't do that, I would find that odd.
Sure.
I just assumed that he probably would be what they call a pillar of his society, because he just feels that he does everything better. So
of course. Yep.
Ew,
so
ew.
On a lighter note,
I need a shower now, Kat.
Pee Wee Gaskins recommended Debbie, right? So I had my hair appointment with her yesterday.
Love Debbie.
I got my hair touched up, right? We love you, Debbie.
You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, you do too. You always do. So Debbie said, well, we were talking about the crime chat as she's doing my hair because she loves us, obviously, and we love you too, Debbie. And she goes, well, and I told her about midnight mass. And so she actually just texted me like an hour ago and said, what was it? What they were talking about yesterday? And so I was like, oh, it was midnight mass. And I said, you're welcome. Enjoy.
She's gonna hate you.
I know.
So, Kat, before we get into your crime chat, I wanted to do an update.
Yes.
On my little pre-story segment, Nat's Nutty News.
Nat's Nutty News, yeah.
So I picked 3. Well, actually, I picked 4. But my last one you're gonna love, and it's pretty freaking funny.
I can't wait.
So, are you ready to hear some headlines? The first one is not Florida; it's actually in Washington State. But I thought it was really cute, and I figured the chatters. It's just very interesting. I didn't know about it. Some headlines that I pulled for Nat's Nutty News. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes.
So, Kat, did you know that there is an edible car?
Oh, no.
There is a car that is 91% cake. And it actually is functioning. So NPR recently covered the story about an edible car that traveled at 17 miles an hour. And it traveled for 350 feet. And
wow.
I mean, I don't even like, I guess the whole car was cake. And then they had like
the engine.
I don't even know if they had an engine. Like they could probably do it with a battery. Like what?
Oh, sure.
You know,
what I want to know is why isn't that cake car in my driveway?
I know. Well, they had Michael Andretti drive it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the car was made especially for the opening of the Washington State Casino.
Cool.
So during the party, they pulled it up and everybody enjoyed some cake. But I never heard of that.
Did they eat the car?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll have a picture of that on Patreon.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you got to post that.
So the last one is actually dated back in 2015, but I saw the story and I had to tell you about it because I know you don't know about it, but it's hilarious and I think it's crime chat worthy. So Florida man on drugs kills imaginary friend and turns himself in. It gets better. Wait, it gets better.
Was it LSD?
Oh, it gets better. Wait.
Okay.
I don't know what particular drug he had, but he did have paraphernalia on him. So,
oh my God.
In Jacksonville, Florida, G. Gaylord, 37, entered the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for killing his imaginary friend, Mr. Happy. Okay. Gaylord told officers he stabbed Mr. Happy repeatedly with a kitchen knife and then cut up his body with the hatchet and buried the victim in the backyard. An actual freaking story.
Okay. Are you still? I have questions. Are you still reading?
Yeah, I'm still reading, but you ask away. Go ahead.
Did he actually did they go to his house and they saw freshly moved ground?
Oh, they did go to his house. Yes. Yes. All right. Let me continue reading. Okay. What do you think?
It was probably LSD. You know, and like I said, multi-personalities, and not to make light of people who have like serious mental illness with multiple personalities.
Mm-hmm.
But the drugs don't help. Okay, the good drugs, you prescribe drugs will help.
Yeah, a lot of people
self-medicating. Yeah, self-medicating is not the answer.
No,
because you do things like killing Mr. Happy.
Yeah, I think the only thing so it's nice to know that he was remorseful.
Well, yeah.
But yeah. So
crazy.
Welcome to Florida. And that's Nat's Nutty News.
That's Nat's Nutty News. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, the crime chat we're going to talk about today was heavily in the news here in South Carolina. And it was one of the stories that I considered doing when we did our crimes in our backyard. It's only about, it's in Myrtle Beach. So it's maybe 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours away from where I'm at. And it was all over the news here. but I can't believe that this story did not make national news. Okay. And you'll understand why here in a minute.
Okay.
So our crime chat is a crime and cosmetic segment. You are not going to believe what actually happened. It's sickening. And I needed, as I mentioned earlier, to add a extra disclaimer. It's about horrible deaths of babies.
Oh.
And what, if you need to turn it off and come back, because a lot of people can't stomach the, deaths of children kind of thing, but it's going to be ugly, people. So if you need to turn it off, come back to our next episode, please feel free to do so.
Yes.
All right. Are you ready?
No. I am. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
A 30-year-old Alyssa Dayvault, a makeup influencer, was arrested about a week after giving birth to a baby boy. After she admitted to authorities, she disposed of the baby in the trash. What would make an up-and-coming YouTube makeup artist do such drastic actions? Not once, people. Not once, chatters, but twice.